Hello there and welcome back to another video, and this is obviously going to be the review for Liverpool versus Chelsea. 1-1 yesterday it was. Been away for the week, so haven't done any videos this week, so do apologise for that. There was no preview for the Chelsea one, or I don't think there was even a review for the last game anyway, but even so, regardless of any of that sort of stuff, it was 1-1, and to be honest, as Liverpool fans, even though we didn't lose the game, we should be a little bit disappointed with not actually being able to get more out of the game, considering the amount of chances that we had in that game. Obviously the main ones that you think of, if you think of chances that came out of that game and you think of Salah being like through on goal and just fluffing his shot, whether it was with his weaker foot or not, just not putting enough power on the shot and stuff like that. We should have been able to get more out of the game. They scored a good header. Like it was a good header from I think it was Havertz. I'll just double check that it was Havertz, but I'm pretty sure it was, and it was Reece James that actually put the cross in from a corner, and it was a good. It should have been. I felt it could have been dealt with better, because obviously there's a lot of stuff coming out now about like how both Matip and Van Dijk and other players as well have obviously been like rock solid and played really well, and they have. But it could have been dealt with a little bit better, in my opinion. But it wasn't, and it went 1-0. Liverpool then got a penalty, and this has obviously caused probably the main talking point, because not just because it was on the stroke of half time, but was it a penalty and was it a red card? For me, and I'll just give you my straight honest opinion, I thought it was a penalty because it denies a goal scoring opportunity. Whether it comes off Reece James's leg and bounces up to his arm first off or not, I felt it should have been a penalty, but I always felt if you award one, you can't award the other. So if you award a red card, it couldn't have then been a penalty or something like that anyway. Like there's something to do with double jeopardy, but I think that's more to do with a foul. So obviously the one that people are referencing a lot is David Luiz at one point brought someone down in the box, got a red card, and they got given a penalty, and people said that was wrong. I think this was maybe last season or something anyway, or maybe the season before, whenever it was. I felt it was a penalty. I don't think it was a red card because it's just one of those things. I think it's like that's where your hand is. It just happened to be there. A lot of people saying because he's motioned the ball in a certain way. I'm not a footballer. I've never been a professional footballer or sportsman in any way whatsoever, so I can't say what I would have done in that situation. It's just purely either instinctual, natural human reactions. I don't know what. I don't know. No one really knows. But he got sent off, and there was a lot of scenes towards the end of the game as well. Salah put away the penalty really, really well. And if you were to just go off like even the likes of like SofaScore or something like that, Salah comes out as one of the highest rated players. It's great that he put the penalty away, but he actually had quite a good few chances, good few opportunities where he could have, taken the score a little bit further as well. Chelsea had their chances, but I would say that they were pragmatic before the sending off as well. Like they were pragmatic before the sending off, quite difficult to break down, quite clearly a tactical decision from Tuchel, knowing, like everybody knows, that if you set up with quite a, I don't want to say defensive, but I want to say a guarded formation where you want to be hard to break down. You've gone and got the first goal of the game, and now you're going to be even harder to break down for the opposition, which they were. They were so difficult for us to break down. Really, really difficult for us to break down. In general, they played a good defensive game. Without that penalty, obviously we would lose that game. It's good that we haven't lost the game and that we haven't lost this season. That's great. That is really, really good. I think where I get a lot of, I don't want to get the which is like getting, a little bit arsey about it, is that obviously Chelsea are getting a lot of praise for being 10 men down and putting such a solid resistance against Liverpool. And they do deserve that credit, but Liverpool should also deserve a little bit of credit for putting the pressure on and also not losing the game like ourselves as well. Yes, we had the one-man advantage, but you wouldn't have known it. And that also comes down to Liverpool as well. Also would come down to Jurgen Klopp as well. Because if I go through this lineup, and then I'll go through our substitutions as well. So Thiago came on the 74th minute. Firmino went off. and apparently has picked up a hamstring injury, so we'll see what happens with that. He came off on the 43rd minute, and for Jota came on, and then Tsimikas came on the 86th minute, and Andy Robertson went off. That was our 3 substitutions. Other subs that we had available was Minamino, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, Joe Gomez, and Konate, and obviously Kelleher as a goalkeeper option as well. I would have preferred to see Minamino. I would have preferred to see Oxlade-Chamberlain brought in as well into the midfield. Obviously, your hands are tied a little bit when someone goes off injured with like Firmino, but I felt we desperately needed people that were going to drive at Chelsea, and I think one of the players I would have took off would have been Sadio Mane. Everything that the man seemed to touch or seemed to run with just did not seem to come off. And I appreciate that he looks a lot sharper in some ways than he did last season, but there's also some issues that are still there from last season with Mane as well, in terms of his end delivery or his end product in the final third, or running into the final third and getting caught in possession. You can see opportunities for passes that he could lay off that he doesn't always, and for me, he gets caught up a little bit at this moment in time in trying to take on a man and trying to take on the opposition when there's passes that are available to other players that could keep the play going instead of losing possession, and then we could then suffer a counter. I don't know what the issue is with Mane at the moment. I'll be honest. We don't know what it is. Is it something that's continuing on from last season? I think this is where we now have the options of being able to use a Minamino, being able to use an Oxlade-Chamberlain in the midfield if we need to. And I also feel that we need to be seeing, unless there's something wrong with him or they're trying to, like, whatever it could be, then we need to be seeing more of Thiago in the midfield. We really, really do. Because our starting lineup in the midfield was Harvey Elliott, Fabinho, and Jordan Henderson. If I'm being totally honest with you, apart from that shot that Henderson did, which if that had gone in, would have been a redonkulous shot and would have been a redonkulous goal, let's be honest. It would have harked back to that one he scored a few years ago against Chelsea, against Thibaut Courtois. Harvey Elliott was magnificent. He was really, really, really good. At 17 years old, when I saw the starting lineup and I saw him in it, I was a little bit concerned, especially when you see he's going to be coming up against N'Golo Kante, Jorginho as well, Mason Mount, Havertz and stuff like that. Harvey Elliott was fantastic. He was really brilliant, absolutely brilliant, carrying the ball, passing the ball, looking for opportunities, trying to set people up as well. Trent really grew into the game. Joel Matip and Van Dijk were very good as well. Robertson was good as well. I can't really fault many players, but I think the person that I would have had like an Oxlade-Chamberlain or a Naby Keita on for would have been Jordan Henderson. And maybe it is a little bit too much too soon. We sort of forget that he was injured at the end of last season as well. Is it too much too soon? Was it the type of game that I realised he's our captain, but could we have used someone else in that midfield? Could we have used someone else instead of Jordan Henderson? I genuinely think we do. And I'm a fan of Jordan Henderson. I love the guy. I think he's fantastic. I think he's a great captain for Liverpool. But I feel that we could have made that change, or started with someone else and maybe brought Henderson on later on. Something like that. Fresh legs. Losing Firmino, yeah, it's a concern. But we have options in that area as well. We have the option of being able to use Jota, Salah, Mane through the middle, having either of these guys on the wings. We've got Minamino as well. It's a lost opportunity in my opinion. The fact that we look at, I know statistics aren't the be all and end all, and I don't base all my reviews off statistics, but when you look at the fact that Chelsea had 6 shots on target, 6 shots in total, 3 on target, and we had 24 shots and 7 on target, it's not good enough. And I've said this so many times over the last season, the season before, even when we won the title and stuff like that as well. Having all these chances, and then when you have 24 chances, 24 shots, not just chances, but 24 shots and only 7 on target. Fair play. A lot of this goes down to Mendy in goal for Chelsea as well. He was very, very good. I think he made 6 saves. So 6 out of those 7 shots on target were saved, and he's a very good goalkeeper as well. But I've always said that over last season, maybe even the season before as well, that there does need to be a little bit of a refresh up front, and whether that means bringing in like a pure number 9 type striker, um, I don't know. I don't know, but we had a lot of control over that area. We had the majority of the possession. Having 12 shots off target is just, it's not good enough. It really isn't good enough. So to come out of there with a 1-1, like, I'll be honest with you, for me, it felt like a loss. It 100% felt like a loss. It really, really did. And obviously it's not, but, and it's a good point in some ways, but there was just so much more we could have got from that game. We could have walked out of there with the win, which maybe would have put us top of the table at the moment. I know top of the table doesn't really mean much at this moment in time, but when you've got so many teams that are on the same amount of points as you, so the Man United game's just finished against Wolves as well, and that finished 1-0 to United late on Mason Greenwood goal. What it means is that we've got 5 teams on 7 points, separated by goal difference, but not even by much. Everton are on +4, and everybody else, West Ham, United, Chelsea, and Liverpool, are on +5. With Tottenham top of the table on 9 points, they haven't drawn or lost yet. And I think they've basically won all of their games by a 1-goal margin, which is fair play to them. They're top of the table going into the internationals, and now it is international duty. So we've got to wait and see now. I can't remember if it's like 1 week or if it's 2 weeks of international duty, but everybody knows who's ever watched this channel, I hate international duty because of a couple of things. The games are normally boring and not really worth watching, and also Liverpool run such a risk with all the players that normally are involved in internationals of getting injuries. Obviously now we've lost Bobby Firmino anyway. I don't think he was allowed to go for the first one. Same with Alisson and possibly Fabinho if he was called up, because of I think they were wanting to go over to a red zone or something like that, and they're not allowed to. I don't know. It just feels like it's going to be a long wait. I think we've got Leeds when we come back after the international break as well, which is going to be a tough game as well, because while Leeds haven't always performed, at the heights that they did last season, they did pick out a 1-1 draw against Burnley today. In I think last minute, like 86th minute or something, Patrick Bamford. They are a hard team to come up against. We faced them last year, opening game of the season, and it was really, really difficult. That was a 4-3, and then I think we drew with them in the latter part of last season as well. Really difficult team to come up against. High intensity, high pressing. It's going to be difficult, but at least we keep ourselves sort of in the pack at the moment. If we start to lose any momentum, then the pack will get away from you. It really, really will. With Tottenham already setting the pace, Chelsea looking good, United also. They didn't look great today against Wolves. I felt that Wolves were actually better than them, but they've secured the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo. Whatever that means at the age of 36 for Ronaldo, I don't know. Like, I've not watched him in the last couple of years, being in Serie A and stuff like that as well. But he's a massive goal scorer. A lot different from the last time we saw him in the Premier League, but he's still a massive goal scorer, massive presence as well. So it's going to be difficult. We have to make sure that and also the elephant in the room for everybody is my firm belief that Liverpool aren't going to make any more signings this season. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. And anybody that gets disappointed with it, you have possibly deluded yourselves into thinking that we're going to get another signing before the window closes. The window closes in 2 days. Closes on Tuesday, like maybe Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, when things like paperwork get processed and such like that. If Liverpool go and make a signing, I don't know who it would be. I don't know what it would be. But I genuinely don't think that Liverpool will. People go on about Liverpool needing to sign a midfielder. They've started putting Harvey Elliott in, and Harvey Elliott was really, really good. They're not going to sign another midfielder. They're not going to do it. So don't think that we're going to go and do it. What we would need, in my opinion, would be someone up front, and that's not going to happen either. So we are going to be going with this squad for the rest of the season, in my opinion. And I think we've still got the quality to at least compete, possibly put up a title challenge as well. But for me, the first objective is some form of top 4. As long as we get that by the end of the season, then that's probably job done in some ways. But we should be competing for the title. We should be competing on all fronts, all competitions, Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup to a lesser extent, obviously, because it's just one of them. Most players would probably look at it and just go, oh, cool, ace, let's just put that in the back of the cabinet. That's genuinely what I think people would think about it anyway. it is what it is. It's a disappointing result because of how much domination that we showed in that game as well. But we didn't lose the game. There are some slight positives to take away from it as well. Van Dijk looking like he's at his colossal. He's getting back to his colossal best as well, and he's not quite there yet. Matip looking good. Don't know when we're going to see Gomez. Don't know if we'll see Konate at any point. Maybe all this sort of stuff will kick back in when the Champions League and stuff kicks off as well. Who knows what's going to happen, but just got to ride the ride for now. So anyway, that's it for me today. I hope you guys are doing very, very well. Hope you've had a good weekend as well, and hope that you're taking care of yourselves just as much as possible as well. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do like it and subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you once again, and I'll catch you later.